Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NH Experience. And on my show today, I have a great guest. He's a music artist, he's an activist, born in LA, raised in Amsterdam, so we'll get into that. Also, he's a co founder of the Pentagon Record Group. He's also one of the most talented MCs out here right now. He's got a great project called The Warning with another music artist by the name of Burner. So we'll go get into that. We'll talk about his journey and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one and only RMean. What's going on, sir? How you doing?
Good, good. How are you, bro? Thank you for having me. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
man, thank you for coming on, man. I know you're a busy man, so we had to track you down somehow, some way, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it for sure.
So talk a little bit about, I know what I mentioned earlier, you were raised in LA, so you West Coast born, but at the same time, you end up moving to Amsterdam, which is completely on the other side of the world. How
Yeah.
was that experience for you? And then what was growing up for you? And then what made you return back to Los Angeles later on?
So really, I'm originally Armenian. You know what I'm saying? If you know
Mhm.
anything about Armenian people, like because of the Armenian genocide and everything that happened over 100 years ago, we are like a diaspora nation. Like we spread all over the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's for over 100 years. So generations of us are spread all over the world. So my parents actually met in Iran. A lot of Armenians live there as well. But that was like before the Iran that we know today. We know for the strict Muslim regime and everything like that. Like this
Mhm.
was before all that, right? It was like a free country. But then when the revolution happened over there, a lot of Armenians and a lot of other people, they were fleeing the country of Iran. So my dad's side of the family all went to the Netherlands, Amsterdam. I usually just say Amsterdam because it's easier, but basically to Holland. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
My mom's side of the family, they all came to LA. So I'm kind of all over the place. So really, what happened was we were living in the Netherlands, but the foresight of my parents wanting their kids to be born in America because they probably wanted to, move to America at some point. It's like a typical immigrant kind of story. You know what I mean? Um, so they made sure that I was born here in LA, even though they lived over there. You know what I'm saying? They lived over there in Amsterdam. So I was born in LA, but I never really lived here as a kid. I was probably a few months old when I moved back to Amsterdam. And then my pops passed when I was only one. But for whatever reason, my mom decided to still stay over there. It
Hmm.
was myself. I was only one. My brother was three, and my mom. So, and we just lived over there in Amsterdam. We was raised there. But when I was 18, right after high school, I personally decided that I want to move to LA, mainly because I started doing this music thing,
Hmm.
and I felt like this is where it's at. And I also because we visited here and there, and obviously we have a lot of family here, and I always kind of felt more home here, if that makes any sense. So eventually I was just like, I gotta make that move, so I moved back to LA. You know what I mean?
Right. So how was the change for you coming from Amsterdam? Obviously, you said you visited here, but it's nothing like living here actually and embracing the
Absolutely.
culture. So
Yeah.
how were you able to acclimate yourself and entrench and ingratiate yourself into the culture of Los Angeles and even hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, I was always like from very young on, I was really into hip hop just as a fan. If you know anything about like Europe, like they love that pure hip hop culture over there. Still to this day, a lot of the OGs and the legends get a lot of love. Honestly, probably more than they get here. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of grew up with that mentality of just loving the whole hip hop thing, and so when and so. Amsterdam was great. The Netherlands was great. I can't complain about the childhood, but it was also a certain type of society where people that look like me, we usually were like a lot of Middle Eastern refugees there. So, and it was a lot of like racism and things like that, specifically towards us. You know what I'm saying? They call us the foreigners, and for some reason, like I never really felt fully at home over there. You know what I'm saying? You come to LA, obviously we know America is a lot of racism as well, but for some reason, a big city like LA, it's a big melting pot. There's a lot of Armenians, there's a lot of all races here, and then hip hop. Hip hop is more mainstream, I guess. You know what I mean? In Europe, it was more like a niche thing, underground thing. You know what I mean? So I just right away felt more at home. You know what I mean? But then being an 18-year-old kid, and I did have family as far as like uncles and aunts, but nobody like my age, no cousins or anything my age. So you come as an 18-year-old right out of high school, you had a lot of friends, girls, whatever over there. You come here, it's kind of like completely new. You know what I mean? And I'm a naturally kind of like an introverted person, so I'm not the fastest to make new friends. You know what I mean? So I definitely went through a little period of struggle of finding myself here, but it all really came back to the music. Through doing music, I started, connecting with people and slowly building my new circle. You know what I'm saying? So, and after a few years, like I knew like this was my home. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I've always said, man, hip hop has done more for bridging gaps, whether it be race or religion or gender, than any other, any other religion or movement.
1000%. Yeah,
You
no,
know,
1000%. It's absolutely the most powerful unifying thing in the world. The most universal culture, really. And you go, I'm an Armenian kid in Holland. Like, just think of that. Like, it almost doesn't make sense. But like, if you look at hip hop right now in every single country in the world, in the Middle East, in Asia, and fucking everywhere. There's mad, like there's rappers, there's producers, there's DJs, there's like hip hop. You know what I'm saying? All the way to the way we dress, the way we talk, and of course the music. So hell yeah.
yeah, no, most definitely. So, who did you grow up listening to? Like, what attracted you to hip hop, and how did you develop your skills? Who were you listening to?
Bro, like when I was like probably 9 or 10, I was just, really into music and really into rap. And actually, I told this story the other day on Sway, which was dope. I was on Sway in the morning on the birthday of hip hop. So this whole
Oh,
conversation came up really like in a dope way. Um, August 13, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
so what happened was I had this older like family friend. His mom was best friends with my mom or whatever, but he was already in his 20s and he was like a real hip hop connoisseur type of dude. So he used to come and he noticed me as a kid just being really into hip hop, but not really understanding anything. I just liked the way things sound. So he sat me down and he started literally schooling me and telling me like, yo, you should be listening to this and listening to this. And I specifically remember him making like a list of like 5 albums that he like basically taught me to listen to, which was the list was Illmatic, it was Enter the 36 Chambers, it was Gangstar, Hard to Earn, it was Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, and it was, I think the fifth one, I'm pretty sure it was KRS-One, Return of the Boom Bap. So like pure, you know what I'm saying, like golden era 90s shit. And I just kind of fell in love with it, you know what I'm saying? And so I started listening to really, that late 90s. And then he put me on kind of more to the early 90s, but like late 90s, early 2000s, the whole shady aftermath thing was big for me.
Hmm.
Eminem, G Unit, and them. Nas was really, to this day, I credit him as my favorite. You know what I mean? Like the reason I wanted to rap was, was Nas. So, Wu Tang, like, that kind of shit I was into. Yeah.
No, that's dope, man. So, who when you got to LA, obviously you're 18, you're young, you're vibrant, you definitely trying to, like you said, find yourself, find your skill set. Who were you?
Yeah.
Was there anybody on the West Coast that you would listen to? Any albums that you
Oh,
felt like you
absolutely.
had to listen to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even before moving here, obviously the Snoop and the Dr. Dre's, they were worldwide already. But when I came here, I got more into like the more, like I had never heard of like DJ Quick. I hadn't really heard of like Spice One, like the real West Coast. You know what I'm saying? So I started just learning about that more. And I feel like just over the years now, the West Coast has grown so much from obviously Game and shit during that G Unit era, but
Right.
um, now I feel like the West Coast hip hop became so much. We used to be known for more for like straight gang banging, and you know what I mean. If it's
Hmm.
not Blood or Crip, it almost didn't work from the West Coast, and I think we really evolved from that a lot. You know what I'm saying? And now with like TDE and like some of my favorite shit is from LA. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, man. I mean, I think you definitely have cultivated a great following, not just with music, but I remember one of your mixtapes where you had a song, which to me was one of the most powerful videos that I've seen in a long time. And I remember I watched it last week, just kind of was going through it, and it was called "Open Wounds," and you really disseminated a strong message because we don't hear a lot about Armenian genocide. We in this country. We know about the African slave trade. Obviously, that was horrible. We know about the Jewish Holocaust, but we don't get to talk about any other cultures outside of that. So, what propelled you to want to talk about the Armenian genocide and bring it to our attention here in the States?
Yeah, exactly what you just said. It's a story of my people that has been suppressed. You know what I'm saying? And the reason it's called Open Wounds is because, so a genocide happened. 1.5 million Armenians were massacred, like systematically massacred, which is the definition of genocide, right? Like systematically trying to wipe a group of people off the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying? But then nobody was held accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, it hasn't been recognized as an official genocide, at least not by the perpetrators, which is Turkey. At the time, it was the Ottoman Empire, so modern day Turkey, but also the United States government. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of politics involved. So we all, you know, we walk around with this open wound, because imagine, you know, your family or whoever, like your entire family being killed, and somehow you survived, and you know exactly who did it, and the world knows exactly who did it, but no one's being held accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like the story. That's a big part of the story of my people. And you know, hip hop to me has always been the voice of the voiceless, the voice of the people. You know what I mean? It came from struggle and oppression. So me coming as kind of first of my background into the hip hop scene, I felt like it's only right that I tell the story of my people. You know what I'm saying? And that record is really just about crime against humanity at the end of the day, and not really realizing when I was doing it how many other races and everybody was going to relate to it, because like you said, you know, like we all of our people been through something of type of genocide. You know what I'm saying? So that song really resonated and was huge for my career. You know, of course, for the Armenian community, but also like just hip hop in general. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. The one thing when I first noticed you was the shirt. I remember seeing the shirt and how you had people like Game and Cardi B and
Yeah.
just several members of the hip hop community really just get behind it and really show you that support. What did that mean to you when you obviously started that movement? We saw you out here marching in the streets in LA, you know, for against Armenian genocide. But when you start having people of other races and people that are obviously big time people in the hip hop community start getting behind you and support it, what did that mean for you?
That was amazing. That was honestly the goal from the beginning. Like, I always feel like we learn a lot about history from art. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
from music, from movies. You know what I'm saying? That we learn a lot. So um, doing the song was almost like a new, fresh way of, you know, sending that message even to my own community. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us Armenians, like the younger generation, yeah, we're taught in our households and stuff like that about it, but there's nothing really very relatable. Like, we don't want to listen to like a politician talk about it, or you know what I'm saying? When you're young,
Right.
that's boring to you or whatever. So hearing it through a hip hop song took it to a whole nother level. And then we just created these T-shirts. Like, everything happened so organically, because I just did. We printed some of those shirts just for me to wear it in the music video. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And as soon as the video dropped, we started getting these requests for like, where can we get that shirt? You know what I mean? And slowly it just turned into this big thing where the shirt became like a tool too, because every time I would wear it, people would like stop me and just ask like, yo, what does that say? Because it's a really eye-catchy design. I'm gonna try to grab one. I'm in my store right now. But
Yeah, man. I definitely got to grab one myself, man. So I'll get with you when we finish.
so, you know, it's like an eye-catchy kind of like design, and it's just a
So
dope, fresh-looking shirt, but it has a powerful message. So, you know, I kept being stopped and asked about what it means, and we just realized like, yo, this is another way to really spread this word. You know what I mean? So then we started just contacting anybody we knew in the music industry, just all type of influences, whatever. And it kind of just became this whole campaign. You know, Game was one of the first ones. He's also, you know, the first big artist I ever did a song with, and he ended up jumping on the remix of that song. And he was the first one to like really wear the shirt and post it. But then after that, like you said, like everywhere we would go and meet people, we would tell them about the cause and show them the shirt. And usually people want to support because, you know, again, everybody relates to it. It's a crimes against humanity thing. So everyone from Cardi B to Post Malone to Logic to DMX to Method Man, to, you know what I mean? Like the list goes
yeah,
on. The list is pretty stupid at this point because it's been a few years. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was just amazing to see people like, you know, be down to spread that word and stand for our cause. You know,
no,
and
that's
the community really appreciated it. Like, I get a lot of love
mhm.
from my community just for doing that, even though it was such an organic thing I was just doing. But they're like, yo, you really represent for us in the hip hop world, you know? So, hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Real recognized real. So how did the connection between yourself and Game come about?
You know, Game used to live in an area in LA called Glendale. which is where I'm born, which is a lot of Armenians are there. You know what I'm saying? So when I first started rapping, like late 2000s, he was still living out here in Glendale, and somehow he got a hold of like my first CD. Like I, I instantly kind of blew up in the community, and we started doing all these little shows. And this is an era where there was definitely iTunes and stuff, but there was also still kind of CDs. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, he heard me, and one day out of nowhere, I get a call. He's like, "Yo, you fucking nice. Come to the studio." And this time, like, Game is fucking big. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the biggest artists in the game. So that's when we met. We did some shit in the studio that was for his mixtape that we never used for the mixtape. So I thought I'm gonna be on a Game mixtape, and then when the mixtape came out, my verses wasn't even on there. You know what I'm saying? But for me, that was just like learning about the music industry and learning how certain things work. But he kind of embraced me from that day. You know what I'm saying? And we had a lot of mutual friends. So a few years after that, I reached out to him and asked him to jump on a song called Los Angels, which he did, and that kind of became my first like semi big song that opened a lot of doors for me in the industry. You know what I'm saying?
So, I know you mentioned earlier, I mean, you collaborate with a lot of artists from Glasses Malone to, like you said, Game. You've done a lot of different things. But there was one song that I still dig to this day, man. You actually got off on that, man. You spit bars on this song. And this was a song dedicated to Nas and Eminem. So what is it about Nas and what is it about Eminem that just attracted you enough to say, you know what, let me do this song dedicated to them? But what is it about their skill set that, raises your eardrums and say, okay, these are guys I kind of want to emulate after?
For sure, man. For me, like I said earlier, like Nas was honestly, if I had to pick, it's never one person, you know what I'm saying? But if I had to pick one rapper, like Nas was the one for me, as a kid. Like when I heard him, for some reason, some connector, like this dude was just he was intelligent with it, but street at the same time. And it was so descriptive that you can just picture what he's talking about. And, and then, Eminem's, what's it called, peak of his career, like, that was right when I was trying to like rap too, and he was just a whole nother level lyrically. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like he took it to the mainstream. He took my real lyricism to another level in the mainstream level. So those two guys I always credit, again, if I had to pick, as my two biggest influences, even in the way that I rhyme. You know what I'm saying? So it was the year 2016 when I did that song that you mentioned. Really, it was part of a whole mixtape called Nas Eminem. Well, this music game has a lot of ups and downs. Like, thank God, like recently things have been going really well for me, but it's been a roller coaster. You know what I mean? And 2016 was one of them years that nothing was working out. It was very frustrating. So I just decided to do whatever the fuck I wanted because I'm such a fan of hip hop, a fan of those two guys. I'm like, I'm gonna just do a tape and just rap over their beats and call it Nas and M and just put it out. You know what I'm saying? And when I did that, I figured one of the songs, which is the last song on the project, is gonna be like an actual tribute. You know what I'm saying? So it's called Letter to the King, and that's the song you're referring to. So the first verse I'm talking to Nas, and second verse I'm talking to M. It was really some like hip hop fan from the heart shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just put it out there. And I don't know, like I posted it on my social media, but I recently linked with Nas at the end of last year, and it all happened because it all happened because he heard that song, but he heard it 3 years later. You know what I'm saying? So now it's 2019. Towards the end of 2019, it was around Thanksgiving weekend. I get a FaceTime call and it's fucking Nas. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? At this point, I've worked with a lot of big people. It's a lot of unreleased music that I have. But Nas is fucking Nas. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh shit. I literally said, oh shit. That's the first thing I said. And then he was like, yo, man, I just heard that song. That shit is fire. And in the moment, I didn't even realize what song he's talking about. I'm like, what song? And he's like, you're the one you did for me and M. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I'm so happy you finally heard that. You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, nah, that shit really did something to me right now. He pointed at his chest, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, that meant a lot. And then a few days later, we was in the studio together. So, shit is wild. Yeah.
Yeah, that's heat, man. How did you stay focused? Because like you said, it was ups and downs. Obviously, there were things that not going your way. So how did you stay focused? How did you stay balanced and not completely quit or give up?
You know what, man? Like 99% of people that I started doing music with or were doing music around the same time, they quit. You know what I'm saying? They already quit and gave up. For me, that was never really an option. Like, it's not that I have days that I wanted to quit, but this music thing is, I'm just so passionate about it. You know what I mean? It's almost like an obsession. I always say it like, this all I really think about. You know what I mean? This all I, besides everyday regular life shit, music is all I really think about. What the next move is, what the next song is, what the next bar is, whatever. Like, that's just what gives me the most joy in life. So, for me, it was, I stopped counting time and years and stuff like that a long time ago. You know what I mean? I was just like, this is what I do. Um, I'm an artist. I'm gonna do music till whenever. So I just kept grinding, man. And then when you keep going, things just happen. You know what I mean? Doors just open. You just meet people. Opportunities come up. Different songs get created. Things just happen without you really realizing. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
That Nas example was a perfect example.
Dude, that had to be huge. Like
I took 3 years. I tried to get it to him at the time. I didn't have no connections to him, but I literally went to shows knowing Nas is headlining a show, and I'm trying to give this tape to someone backstage. Like, I tried all kinds of shit, you know what I'm saying, years ago, but none of that worked. And then it just kind of organically.
Well, you know what, man? Perseverance paid off. And I know that had to be huge to get somebody like Nas to even just happy Thanksgiving to you, right?
Happy Thanksgiving. I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that day for sure.
So now let's, you fast forward it. So talk to me a little bit. I mean, you're getting success now. I mean, you're on a lot of, like you said, Sway in the Morning. You've been on the world famous Wake Up Show. You've been on various other shows that have displayed your talent. I mean, you've been on TV, news stations and things like that. So talk to me a little bit about Pentagon, the Pentagon and the record label, and why you decided to stay independent as an artist.
Yeah, so Pentagon is really what we called, the team from the beginning. Officially, it's just me. We have one more young artist, Franco Drew, that we're working with. He's on the Burner album that we'll talk about in a second. He's on the title track, The Warning. If you look at the music industry, especially today, like, independent is the way to go, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, I feel like I have a lot of accomplishments under my belt, but a lot of shit coming where I feel like it won't even make sense for me to sign to a label and give away ownership, because I know a lot of artists that are signed that I'm cool with, and I see how they struggle with certain things. You know what I mean? And I just don't want to put my career in somebody else's hands. You know what I mean? Not like now anymore. Like, if I just started rapping 2 years ago and I was fully new to this shit, sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, an opportunity is an opportunity. Like, I'm not saying you should never go with a major label. I wouldn't say it at all. But for me, that doesn't make sense. I have a lot of roots already. I have a built-in fan base that, you know what I mean, that I know I can just build on and build on. We got our merch game right. We got all kinds of things, side hustles that independent artists do. And I got a really strong team, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really need a label at this point. Of course, you need them to get to a next level, but I feel like I can maybe link with a label when in some type of partnership capacity later on, where I don't have to give up my ownership, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, in the long term, the money is going to stay in the catalog. And I feel like the type of music I make is timeless, so it's not like people are going to listen to it this year and they're never going to listen to it again. So it's gonna have value for years to come. So I need to hold on to that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Absolutely, man. You have a great team, and it's kind of similar to what we saw Nipsey Hustle go through with All Money In. Like, he refused to sign with a label, but then he struck up a partnership with another label. Is that something you're looking towards moving in?
That's exactly what he did. Nipsey's road has kind of always been very similar to mine. You know what I'm saying? I always looked at him at that marathon kind of mind state.
Right.
And a lot of people in the Armenian community always kind of say that, like, yo, you kind of like resemble like Nipsey in this community, just because of the mind state. You know what I'm saying? Just because like how we've approached everything that we're doing. I have a clothing store. He had a clothing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And he's always been one of my favorites. And then exactly, I saw him make that power move where he just refused to just sign. I remember Rick Ross wanted to sign him, and other labels wanted to sign him, and he felt like it didn't make sense. But then when he could do a partnership with Atlantic, where he kept his ownership, but obviously the Atlantic machine pushed him to that next level. That's when we saw Victory Lap and the Grammy nomination and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that was really short lived for him, that success. But that's definitely, you know, kind of the way I'm thinking. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Now you got a brand new project. It's burning up the charts, man. The first song that I liked, I mean, I heard about was you and Dave East. Now, how did you and Dave East connect, man? Because y'all went ham on that song, man. On God, really.
Yeah.
And I know that's the name of the song, but that's really what y'all did.
Oh God, yeah, man. This is the shirt I'm actually wearing. Is the merch for that song. So basically, this whole project is a joint collaboration album with Burner. You know what I'm saying? So Burner, for I don't know how familiar people are, but he's fucking obviously a huge independent artist, but also he's from the Bay Area, but also the founder of the Cookies cannabis brand and clothing and all that. He's huge in the cannabis world. It's probably the biggest brand in the world, actually. So, you know, I link with Burner really through Be Real. You know, Be Real from Cypress Hill, been one of my main, you know, supporters for years now. He's been fucking with me for a long time. And I met him through Be Real and his people. Me and Burner linked, and we decided to do this project. And we went on tour together. And the last year, I was his direct support. It was an East to West Coast 30-city tour. Every single show sold out. It was amazing. But when we were in New York at SOB's, Dave East pulled up. And as I got off stage, you know, I ran into him in the green room. That's the first time I met him. And then I thought about this song that we had, On God. Me and Burner had already worked on it. I thought to myself, that's who we need to get on the song. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the relationship with Dave East. That was totally Burner. Burner linked me with him, and then when Dave East was in LA, and then I went to the studio with him and we knocked that out. That's where first time we really met. Besides the show, was in the studio. That's when we chopped it up. When I told him I got a song with Nas, he's like, "What? You got a song with Isco?" You know what I mean? He didn't realize that, and then the connection with Burner, and that's kind of how we built our relationship. And then actually he said like, "Yo, we should do a video for this," so we did the video, and you know what I mean. And then we decided to make that the first like main single off this project, you know. But Dave East, I've always been a huge fan, and I feel like me and him, like we would connect well musically. It just made sense, you know what I mean, to make that collaboration happen.
Yeah, it totally made sense. I mean, you guys flowed, man, like water. I mean, you guys, like, you had your verse, you know, Dave had his, man, and it just came together so naturally, man. It almost looked like it was supposed to happen, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I picked the right song, you know, like, because I've learned this from experience too, but it's not just about collaborating just with anybody you can, but it's really about collaborating on the right fucking song. You know what I mean? You can still have a mediocre song with the best rapper in the world. You know what I'm saying? But if it's the right song, it can be big. So, and On God's been doing amazing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed the last couple of your projects, man, and I want to say this in the most respectful way. You almost have that Rick Ross type ear. It seems like you pick the right songs for the right tracks. Was that always in you, or is that something you had to develop?
I think that's definitely been something I've developed. Like, I kind of started as like this underground lyrical spitter type dude, just worried about out rapping everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I always made good songs. Like, I look back at my catalog, I got gems from many years ago that are pretty amazing. But at the end of the day, I became a much better like songwriter and creator in the last few years, really with just experience, you know what I'm saying, and an ear for production, even my team around me and having the right people around. And yeah, I feel like right now, because I got a good amount of big collaborations coming, and I feel like each and every one of them are just like on point, you know what I'm saying, like the right song, the right beat, the right placement of the people, like, you know what I'm saying. And
Definitely.
yeah, I see people make that mistake. You know, you get an opportunity to work with somebody big, and it's just it's cool. It's cool because it's a big name, but that's the only reason it's cool, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But if the song is right, then that's when the chemistry happens. You know.
Absolutely. Now, another track, man, I want to get on because I want to know about this one. I want to know what the behind the scenes. I want to know how it was orchestrated. It's called Kings. You got Wiz Khalifa, yourself, my man Be Real from Cypress Hill, Burner. I mean, how did that all come together? I know you said about the relationship with Be Real, but then you got Wiz Khalifa. That's big.
Wiz, that was big. If people Burner fans know that Burner is mad close with Wiz Khalifa, he's actually part of Taylor Gang. But the dope thing is that he was not even involved in getting Wiz Khalifa on the song. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what happened was I had this record and I had a hook on it because right now Wiz is doing the hook. I had a hook on it, which was actually like I felt like it could be really big, right? So I played it for Be Real first. Be Real loved it. He's like, I'm down to jump on it. And it was also I've known B for a good 3-4 years, like we're really close. But I never asked him for a song. You know, I just felt like, you know, it has to happen more organically or whatever. But when I now did an album with Burner and he's really close with Burner, I felt like this was the project. So I played it for him. He's like, I'm down. And then we went to the studio together, with Burner. So it was 3 of us. And we each did our parts. And the song was kind of done. But the hook that I had was like an old song flip. It wasn't necessarily a sample. It's called an interpolation because I didn't take the actual song. But basically, it was a sample and it had to be cleared. You know what I'm saying? So we weren't able to clear that sample. So it was actually only a few weeks left, or a couple months actually, that we had to finish the album, and that sample got denied. So I was actually really stressed. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Because this was supposed to be one of the main songs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I felt like it was a big inspirational joint, and it could really be something. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, you know, the only way I can save this song is if somehow I get Wiz on this hook. I just heard him on it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I had only met Wiz once briefly, but I knew a few people in his team, and a couple of people on my team were really close with them. So, you know, we just reached out, and man, he just fucking did it out of love. Didn't even ask for anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, the fact that it was a Burner and RMean album mattered a lot. It wasn't just for RMean. Maybe if it was my solo shit, he wouldn't have done it, or wouldn't have done it for free or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, he just fucking showed love, and he did it quick too. So, and he took it to a whole other level. So, shout out to Wiz, the whole Taylor Gang team.
Yeah, that's. I mean, a lot of songs on there on that project, man. I'm not just saying this because you hear it, but those songs are fire, man. People definitely, I know, are starting to get into it. I know I play the record, you know, especially when I'm working out or doing other stuff. So, you know, it's a dope record. I love the concept of the record. I think that's the most important part is the concept behind it. But that you guys got together and just put out a great project.
Yeah, it's definitely a dope song and the whole project. I'm really proud of this whole album. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like me and Burner, we really, first of all, shout out to Burner because he didn't have to give me that look. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really gave me a huge look just by doing it. Burner does like collaboration albums a lot. Like, if you follow him, he does in between his solo projects, he'll do a whole album with like Mozzie, then he'll do a whole album with Currency, then he'll do a whole album with Be Real. Like, he's got a lot of those. You know what I'm saying? So when he said it, it made sense. You know what I'm saying? But it was still obviously a huge look for me. So, and I think like we really put like a solid body of work together. Everything from the production to just the vibe from track 1 to 12. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a couple, you know, big features on there as well. And yeah, shit came together amazing. You know, Styles P's on there as well, another legend. My man Chris Webby is on there, and Chris Webby, I went on tour with him like a couple times. Huge following, you know, huge independent dude from the East Coast, and my guy AD from Compton. So yeah, the project is fire. If anybody hasn't heard it, it's doing really well. By far, the best performing project that I've ever had. So you know, it's been amazing for me.
Man, congratulations on that success, bro. You definitely deserve it. You and Burner both, man. You guys were amazing in that project. Now, you're a music artist, you're a creator, you're an activist, but also, in addition to being the co-founder of the Pentagon, which is a record label, which is all its own, word around the campfire is that you got a brand new marijuana strand coming, and you're going to debut at a particular place. So let's talk a little bit about that, man. How'd you come up with the concept with that? Who'd you work with? And then when will it debut, and where will it debut?
Man, you've really been doing the homework. I like it because I just tweeted about it a couple days ago. Yeah, so we just closed that deal, man. Like, obviously being connected to Burner and Be Real, you know, we have a lot of those the people that are in, you know, heavily high up in that cannabis world. And so we've had that talk for a while, like when is the right time to do like a strain. So we've been having this store called the Pentagon LA. So besides the record label, We have, like a clothing store, creative space. That's where I'm at right now.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Um,
Dope.
Out here
Okay.
in Glendale, in LA, in California. And, when we did the Pentagon LA, we called it that because, hopefully in the future there'll be a Pentagon New York or Vegas or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And we came up with this LA logo that really took off for us. So we have a lot of gear with the LA logo. And I also have this song with Game called Lost Angels, which was kind of like my first, kind of bigger song in the industry. So we're like, yo, we should do something with that LA logo and call it Lost Angels. And that'll be the strain. And then, lucky for me, the grand opening of Nipsey Hussle's Marathon OG Dispensary is later this month. It's on August 29th in Canoga Park. So, our partners in our strain are also partners with Nipsey's people in that store.
Nice.
So, we made arrangements to like premiere it at the grand opening, which is obviously a huge look, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Lost Angels strain is coming and it'll premiere at the Marathon grand opening in Canoga Park, August 29th. But it'll be like available everywhere, probably at every cookie store, Dr. Green Thumbs, all the bigger dispensaries. It'll be available. You know?
Oh, that's fantastic, man. Congratulations on that venture. I know that was a long time coming.
It's some real like OG Kush. It's some LA shit. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
We already got ideas for different type. I don't know if you a smoker or not. We got some big things in the works, but this is some real, very high quality LA Kush. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you. Were you involved with the design of the product? Because I know, like, I've seen other, artists have the design and the product and things like that. Were you involved in that?
Involved in the design, and then we, I'm not like a grower or anything, but we definitely did the grows and like talk to them about what we wanted to be. And again, we wanted to be that LA OG Kush, and they gave us samples, and we tried it, me and my team, and you know what I'm saying, and we decided on some specifics. So yeah, it was definitely a process. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's a fun process too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. When you look at what's going on, I mean, obviously COVID has affected everybody in some way, shape, or form. How have you been able to get over that hump or actually deal with COVID and still be able to be successful with the music? And now you have the, like I said, the marijuana strand, and now you have, your record label and other, I'm sure, other ventures on the horizon. How are you able to maintain through?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely took a hit. Like the store had to be closed, and the merch sales was only online, and that things like that definitely affected us. But I feel like, with all the terrible things happening to a lot of people, for a lot of creatives, this whole quarantine COVID thing was almost like a blessing in disguise, because at least for the first few months, right now we out and about again, you know what I'm saying? But the first few months when we was all locked in, it was like all the distractions were taken away, and there was literally nothing else to do except being home. And I just decided to use that time to like create as much as I could, you know what I mean? Like the big studios and stuff was shut down, but if you had your own studio set up or no smaller place, whatever, you can still record music. That's pretty much the only thing you could really still do. So what I did is really use that time to like create as much as possible. That's also when we were able to finish this album with Burner. Burner is a busy motherfucker. Like he has a marijuana empire. Like I don't know if people really know. Like Cookies is one of the biggest brands in the world, and he has like multiple businesses, Vibes Papers and H2O, all kinds of shit. So to get him to like commit was a task. Like he would do a few songs, and then I would have to hunt him down a few weeks or months. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Burn, we gotta finish this shit. You know what I'm saying? So once he was locked in the house too, he had a studio in the crib. We were able to finish the project soon. So in a way, a lot of good things came out of it. You know
Sure. I always said it's either two things with the COVID. It's either going to make you one of the most creative people on the planet, or it's going to make you a lazy ass bum.
Absolutely. And I probably did Netflix and chill for like the first 10 days or so. And then I was like, nah, we need to use this time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really did. I really used it. I created a lot of content that's like hopefully coming out soon.
What is the most impactful pearl of wisdom that you've received?
Oh man. Just not to give up, really staying consistent. Consistent, word consistent is I feel like the most important thing in life, really, especially definitely this music thing. Like if you just stay working consistently and keep putting out quality work consistently, there's that's the formula. Like there's no way it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, something's gonna happen. Some doors gonna open. You know what I mean? I used to do this shit. 2017, I did a campaign called Mean Mondays. I dropped a song every single week for the entire year. So that's 52 songs in 52 weeks. And then I went on for another three months. But that was the campaign. And I just, I was creating in real time. So it was hard. It was hard work. But I just pushed myself. Sometimes Sunday nights I'm in the studio trying to finish the song. You know what I'm saying? Um, but it pushed myself, it sharpened my sword, and a lot of doors opened just from me doing that. That's when I met Be Real, actually. I didn't meet him, but that's when he really reached out, and I linked up with him. And I ended up on a Wu-Tang album, and a lot of like local, like DJ Charisma and LA Leakers and people like that started reaching out just because they see you working. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I was only getting a few thousand streams on each song. Like it wasn't even, you know what I mean? Some of them were doing pretty good, but most of them, it wasn't even getting that kind of attention. But I just kept working, kept pushing through it, and slowly, you know what I mean? Things just, you meet the right people and things happen. So just staying consistent, man. Like if you just find what you love in life and just stay consistent at it, and that's really the jewel in life, really. You know what I mean?
Totally agree. So you work with a plethora of artists. Is there any artist that you're looking forward to working with that you have yet to collab with?
Um, I got this project with Scott Storch coming,
Ooh.
like on the production. That's like my main solo project now. That's honestly that's why I decided. I told Burner, I'm like, Burner got a lot of big things always in the works. I'm like, let's call this album The Warning, because we had this song first of all, The Warning, which sounded like a title track, and also like it's kind of like a warning of what's to come.
Oh yeah.
I got a lot of big names on that already. Like I already talked about Nas. Um, there's a few more. I'm not really gonna say it, but the other day I posted a picture with Quavo. Like I got like some shit on there. Um, but of course, there's always still people that I really want to work with. I was thinking actually about this the other day. Like one of my dreams is to work with like Damian Marley, with people like Anderson .Paak. You know what I'm saying? Like the singers, like, and then rapping wise, I mean, it's really like right now the Griselda dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Both Benny and Conway, and of course like the greats. You know, the Kendricks, Coles. You know what I mean? Like, but we'll see when all that happens. You know, I still haven't been known with of course. That'll be fucking crazy. So yeah, but I have worked with a lot of people I wanted to work with that's coming on this project.
Yeah, man.
I've been blessed lately, bro.
Absolutely, man. I'm loving the way the West Coast scene is transforming back to where it is. I mean, you have yourself, you have Reason, you have, so many other artists that
I love to work with Reason. I ran into Reason. I think it was Grammy week or whatever, right before quarantine, and I chopped it up with him. And we exchanged numbers and all that, but we haven't done anything. But he's always in the back of my mind. Like again, I need to have the right record to even like hit him up. But I fuck with him heavy.
Oh, that'd be fire.
Yeah, I told him that too. Like from the young, like new dudes, yeah, he got a lot of potential.
Yeah, I mean, the West Coast scene is definitely in good hands. I mean, with you guys, Villain Park, there's so many countless other, MCs that are really, putting the West on their back, man. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Obviously, being from LA, I know you got to be on the sports scene at some point. You into basketball, NFL?
Bro, because I was raised in Europe, I never really got into football because football is really like an American thing.
Right.
To this day, honestly, I don't really follow it. Basketball, I definitely do, but this year, yeah, I kind of haven't, to be honest. Like after this whole quarantine thing,
yeah,
I know the games are back on. Playoffs about to start right now, right?
Yeah, playoffs about to start. Yeah.
So obviously, I'm a tap in, but I haven't really been into it the way I usually would.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird this year, like with no fans, everybody's away, like in a bubble. It's totally weird.
The feeling is definitely different, And you know
For
what?
sure.
I got this song called King James that we did like late last year. It's just a banger, but it's kind of like, basically about feeling like a winner, like LeBron,
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna drop it. I've never told the story. I was gonna drop it on. It was just Scott Storch too. I was gonna drop it at on All-Star Weekend, and then what happened was Kobe died, right? Like a week or two before that, the most horrific thing. So obviously I wasn't gonna drop a King James song then. So I held on to it, and I'm like, would drop it during the playoffs, right? And then fucking COVID came and the playoff, everything got canceled. So now the playoffs are starting. I'm honestly kind of filling it out to see if it's the right time to drop it, because personally I haven't felt the hype of the NBA back yet, really. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What do you think? Is the hype back? Is the playoffs gonna, is it gonna feel like, or not really? You know, like,
You know what? I think people are just so happy to have sports back because we've been away from it for so long. And I think people are just really enthusiastic about having sports, period, whether it's basketball, whether it's, you know, soccer, whether it's baseball or whatever. But I think the NBA has done a great job as far as getting the hype and getting the fans back on board. So,
yeah. So I'm thinking I may be dropping that song the next few weeks. But we'll see.
yeah, maybe the Lakers win the championship. That'd be the perfect time to drop it.
Yeah, hey, that's what we need, baby. That's what we needed regardless, but it would be perfect. At least make it to the finals or something. Let's drop it then. You know?
Last couple of things.
Yeah,
for sure. Last couple of things, for I know you're busy. You got to get on out of here. You mentioned Kobe Bryant. What did Kobe Bryant mean to you?
Oh man, you know, Kobe was like the role model I never met. You know what I'm saying? Like, just determination, just everything that, you know, a winner personifies. You know what I'm saying? Dedication, determination, work ethic. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like even if I have 10% of what Kobe had, you know, I'll be good in life. You know what I'm saying? Kobe's the one, bro. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, all day.
That was a very, very, very tough thing to deal with.
Still is.
Yeah, it still is. Really like losing a family member without ever meeting him or anything. You know what I'm saying? That's
Absolutely.
that's how it felt and still feels. Yeah, sure. Nipsey, it's like weird. Nipsey and Kobe. I mean, Kobe was a bigger, you know, part of my whole life, but those two losses was just super tragic. You know?
Yes. I mean,
super affected me personally, like nothing else has ever affected me. You know, from like people you don't know, but. You know what I mean? And to tell an even crazier story, I was this close to doing a song with Nipsey. I had met him like briefly a couple times, but I had met his team. This is when me and Scott had just started working on this project, and I had this record. We sent it over, and Nipsey's guy, his manager JP, he hit me back. He's like, "Yo, he loved the song. Let's touch base top of the week." I swear on everything. It was Thursday, March 28th. He's like, he loved this song. He's down to do it. I'll touch base with you top of the week. We'll schedule the session. And I had made it a point to like schedule a session together because I didn't want to just have him like send me a verse. I wanted to be in there together. And that was Thursday, March 28th. And on Sunday, he got killed. That never happened. You know what I'm saying? That's my little like Nipsey story. I never really knew him like that. I only briefly met him a couple times, but yeah, that shit was crazy. I was like, man, I can't believe that.
That's epic, man. That'd have been epic. So, what does RMean? Obviously, you got so many things going on, but what people don't know is the fact that you're actually a doctor.
Yeah.
You don't play one on TV. You're actually a doctor.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that and what type of doctor are you? Because I don't think a lot of people understand it, man. And that's major. I think that's great just for young people, and I think it's just great in general for people to know that about you, man.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I'm a pharmacist. So, you know, I did the whole school thing. When I moved here from Amsterdam, I used college kind of as a tool to, like, you know, move here. Like, I enrolled in college and got the financial aid and all the loans and all that shit. And, you know, I went to UCLA for undergrad. And, you know, while I'm doing the music thing, you know, I'm young, I'm trying to figure it out. And also I was raised with the mentality of we have to go to college, you know what I mean? That's like, I guess, another like real immigrant thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of immigrant households have that same kind of upbringing. Like you have to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. You know, even though I personally don't really agree with that type of upbringing, speaking from personal experience, if you have a passion to pursue that. But that's kind of how I was raised, especially when I was younger. I almost didn't really know better. I felt like I'm going to just go to school while I'm doing the music. I'll probably get signed before I graduate to like Dr. Dre or something. You know what I mean? Like that's like the young, you know, the thing, wishful thinking kind of mentality. So yeah, I went to UCLA. I graduated undergrad. And then, you know, in school, I was always kind of interested in like, you know, the human medical things and stuff like that. So then I decided to continue, and I I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna apply to these pharmacy schools. If I get in, I'll go, and if I don't, then I don't, because the music was stuck, nothing was really happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got accepted to Loma Linda University right here in the IE, like by Riverside. So I went and I graduated, and then I worked for only a couple years, and that's when I was really getting more and more into music. And I'm like, bro, this is not what I want to do in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say I regret it. Like it's been an experience, but I just realized that ain't what I want to do. So I quit working, and when I fully dedicated myself to music, even though you take a huge pay cut or whatever, that's when I started seeing things going to the next level. You know what I mean? When you're fully dedicated to your dream, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Doors started opening and things started happening. So that's kind of like my story. But I still have a pharmacy license in California. I own a pharmacy in Tarzana right now.
Okay.
I'm a partner in me and my partner. It's called Vantana Pharmacy. If y'all want your meds, but don't send like these rappers that want all the other type of drugs. Like that ain't me. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, I hear that. Man, that's
pharmacy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Vantana Pharmacy in Tarzana. Fuck with your boy.
Hey man, that's fantastic, man. For you to have the strength enough and the courage enough to follow your passion, man, after all of that is amazing. And I think that's a great story in itself.
Yeah, man, thank you. It took a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like it took, you got your family pressuring you, you got this, you got that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and everyone's like, what do you mean you're not working as a pharmacist no more? Like, you want to rap? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, people look at you like weird, and I just, had to follow my gut, man. You know what I'm saying? So, and it finally starting to pay off, so I ain't complaining now.
Oh, absolutely, man. You on the right road. You on the right path. RMean, brother, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me on the program. I really appreciate you. Definitely a supporter of what you're doing. Also, not just with the music, but with the awareness that you're bringing about Armenian genocide. Please let everybody know where they can find you, keep up with all your great work, and where they can find your store as well.
The store is called The Pentagon LA. It's in Glendale, California. Of course, it's thepentagonla.com for the online store. And just follow me on social media at RMean. You know what I'm saying? It's the letter R, no dash, just mean, MDAN, on all the platforms. Fuck with your boy. Appreciate you having me, bro.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on. I'm going to be out there on the 29th, man, for the grand opening. So hopefully I get to see you out there.
There's going to be a lot of people there, man. It's going to be pretty epic. Marathon dispensary grand opening. Pull up Canoga Park.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much, buddy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, bro. Love. Peace.